would like to say thank you and give a big shout out to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office here in Florida. Yesterday evening, I was spray painting an old hammock frame out in my garage and had put one coat on and was letting it dry, had the garage door up, went inside, made some dinner and was watching TV and had fallen asleep, went to bed, forgot I had left the garage door open. About 2 o'clock in the morning, I get knock on the door, doorbell rings, not very much used to that, and I go to the door and of course there is sheriff's deputy asking about my garage door being open with the light on. Now I think he probably assumed what happened. It wasn't too hard to see, but it was an African American officer. I didn't make a real big note of it at the time, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, this isn't something, of course, that got caught on a smartphone, and nobody can use it to make any money, so I guess it doesn't count as an interaction between the police and the community, especially black police, white community, or vice versa. Does it? It doesn't count. You see, it does count. It counts to me, it counts to my neighbors, it counts to everyone who, on a daily basis, has cordial and decent relations with their local authorities every single day. No, one question nobody asks about what's going on now. Where was the May 24th outrage? You see, that's the day before things happened with Mr. Floyd up in Minnesota. Apparently, the day before that, everything was fine because nobody was talking about it. But now it's a systemic problem, I guess apparently that only has occurred since the 25th. But I digress. I'm not going to let that sully the good relations that the people of Florida have with the vast majority of the people of Florida have with the authorities. We just don't have those issues here. Now, on another note, yesterday's video I posted, and there are normal parameters that I watch the first hour or two after a video posts to see if it's doing okay. Some videos do a little better, some videos do a little worse. This one was doing way worse, and I could not understand why. Because I did it in the basic same format as I did in every other video. It was doing like maybe not even a third of what it normally does in its first hour. And I figured out what it was, and it was my fault. People like to talk about AI. They like to talk about machine learning. YouTube channels like mine, the monetized ones, you have to declare, we had to some time ago, whether our channels were meant for kids or not meant for kids. Now, of course, this channel, pretty easy, slam dunk, not meant for kids, which is perfectly fine. So they're able to categorize, we don't want kids here on YouTube seeing things not meant for them. Well, I was talking about the theme park. I was talking about it in a way meant for adults, but the AI got tripped because it saw all of the pictures of Splash Mountain, and I think I used the term KIDS way too many times in it, and it threw up a red flag. And so it basically did what they call shadow banning, meaning that even though it was declared not meant for kids, the AI saw, wait a minute, there's way too much quote-unquote kids content in here. Because there's a difference between kid-friendly and family-friendly, which got me thinking. And just to be very clear, YouTube didn't do anything wrong. YouTube did absolutely nothing wrong. It was just a weird quirk in the way their AI works. One day, no big deal. But lesson learned. It did remind me, though, of something. Who remembers long ago when the atheist types were having the Ten Commandments all taken down everywhere, thinking that we're going to have this religious-free society? not realizing the law of unintended consequences was going to kick in, and people were going to start to put them in front of their businesses and in front of their houses and their lawns all over the neighborhood. Instead of seeing one big statue in front of City Hall, now it's everywhere. And then there was a rash of vandalism, but after a while, they realized, we can't fight the tide. This is going to happen with this current movement against Southern culture. You mark my words. What's going to happen is they're going to try to take it out of the public arena, all of the different things that marked, the Reconstruction era. But that's just going to put it into the hands of private folks who are going to put stuff up like that, of these, like the generals, for example, in front of their businesses. And there's going to be a cottage industry explode, making smaller, scaled down versions of these statues to put in front of your home, which there's nothing the government can do about, and you can protest all day long. And of course, there'll be a rash of vandalism, but because it'll be such a big money-making deal, eventually they'll get tired of it. And there'll be more Southern culture everywhere, all around the South, as a result of this. Now, I would like to share just a tiny clip of black wisdom, for lack of a better term. Sorry about the camera noise. From Medea. This is Tyler Perry. Says something here very interesting, and I want you to listen close.
I said it was going to be easy, but it'll get easy when you learn how to love yourself. When you get to a point in your life where you look at people and you go, okay, wait a minute, you or me, you will make a decision. Because when you telling folks to do something, and
for copyright reasons, I don't want to take any more of that. But the idea is this. He was talking to his nephew about a relationship that had gone bad, or Medea was talking to her nephew, characters there, and how to deal with it. But when you have, whether it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or even two groups of people that have come to the point where we kind of are now in this country, where it's either you or me, guess who's going to get chosen? And here is another example of this also from the black community. This is a clip from, believe it or not, True Blood, the story about the vampires and the werewolves. And this is a character named Tara, kind of edgy because her mother named her after a southern plantation. And in this scene, she has just been hit in the head with a liquor bottle by her mother, who's an alcoholic. Now listen to what she says.
You may have carried me and nursed me, but obviously you are now set on killing me. And if I'm forced to choose between you and me, guess what? You lose.
And that's kind of the truth. That is really kind of where this is going to end up if things don't calm down. Because choices are going to have to be made. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, well, why are we looking at this? Once again, last night, clicked on the news just to see if there's anything new being talked about, and of course not. And many, many people took issue with that image in the center. I have absolutely no problem with that image in the center. It's a picture of this girl right here to the left, some years ago. You see, these two have had this thing going on. I've made this allegation about Fox and CNN being the exact same thing, having the exact same values. And even the current president has started to notice this, unfortunately, 3 years too late. That these people have Manhattan values. The man's married and he's been carrying on with this girl for a long time. It's not even a secret. She's holed up in his mansion out on Long Island. He's married. I believe she's divorced, but this and this are the same thing. Willing to do anything to get ahead. Willing to do anything for the almighty dollar. and then have the audacity with her to conduct a Bible study. These people calling themselves those who are on the right side of history, those who represent the religious or moral right. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just like the current leader and all of his marriages, and then this guy, and they don't have any personal respect for it. And this just shows you evidence of the same mental state. And of course, this was all delineated in the Bible. Now the word of the Lord came to Samuel, saying, I greatly regret that I have set up Saul as king, for he has turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. Everybody loves to talk about King David as being, the wonderful servant of God, the shepherd boy that slew Goliath, the one that put off Saul's armor. But it was only so many years later that David found himself in trouble with Bathsheba. See, none of us are immune from this. None of us are immune from this toleration of rebellious spirits. And that's what's really taken over the land right now, is this rebellious spirit. And that's going to be the end if it's not quelled. It's not about whether what happened in Minnesota was right or wrong, what happened in Atlanta was right or wrong. Bad things are going to happen every day. Bad things are going to happen every day. Someone gets a smartphone out and points it at it and records it and then uploads it to whatever platform on the internet. If we use that as an excuse to start burning down cities, we don't have enough cities, guys. There are enough bad things that happen every day around this planet, around this country, that if it all gets filmed and it all gets thrown up and every one equals the burning of a city, it'll be over quick. But have faith. I do. And last night proved it. A good and decent servant of the people of Flagler County came to my door and did what the vast majority of them do. The right thing. The good, decent, and honorable thing. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. God bless everyone. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time.